Hello everybody and welcome to Movie Master, where we rank, review, talk and try to react about movies and TV shows. So today I'm gonna talk and rank rank all three Spider-Man actors from worst to best. The live-action adapted ones. So the ones from the three different franchises. This will be consisted of the films with the actors Toby Maguire, who portrayed Spider-Man from 2002 to 2007, and was age 26 when he took on the role of Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and was 30 years old when he finished the role. He would have been 34 if he starred in the 2011 supposedly cancelled sequel, Spider-Man 4. At least is what I think of it. If it was, at least what I think that his age was supposed to be. If it wasn't, tell me in the comments below. And then there's Andrew Garfield, who portrayed the role of Spider-Man from age 27 to 29, 27? 29? Yeah, 29 to 31. I don't know. Tell me in the comments below what age he started at. And the current actor portraying the web slinger on the big screen, Tom Holland, who portrayed the role from 19 to... from age 19 to 23. 22 or 23. Sorry, just counting that. But yeah, if I don't know his real age, please tell me in the comment section down below. I'd really love to know. But anywho, thanks. Today I'm gonna do my ranking of all three actors. This is from each Spider-Man franchise. So the Spider-Man franchise going from 2002 to 2003. That's the Spider-Man trilogy, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Toby Maguire, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Topher Grace, and whoever played the Sandman. Sorry, I still haven't figured out his name, even though I'm a big Spider-Man fan. And then there's the series directed by Mark Webb, who stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, don't know who played Kirk Connors, Jamie Foxx, and Dane DeHaan. And Paul Giamatti. Sorry, I don't know who plays the Lizard Seer. And the current franchise starring Tom Holland, Michael Keaton, Jake Gyllenhaal, and, well, whoever's going to be the third villain in Spider-Man 3. Who's going to be the villain in Spider-Man 3. Well, with that, anywho, let me rank all three Spider-Man actors from worst to best. Number 3, Andrew Garfield. Now, not necessarily is Andrew Garfield a terrible Spider-Man actor. He brought a unique part to the Spider-Man role. He altered it very differently from him. Because what Sony wanted is they wanted to differ their franchise from the original series that had come before it. Because Sam Raimi had adapted it so well to the comics, this one had to switch things up a bit. So that's why they wanted a more Batman tone, which I really wish they kept for the sequel. And, yeah, he brought a really realistic tone to Peter Parker as a character. He made him look realistic, a bit more realistic look to the character. And yeah, they made him a bit too handsome, but they made him feel different. They made him feel like an everyday teen, yet still his own, still the Peter Parker we all know and love. And yeah. And with that, then we have Spider-Man, who he perfectly portrayed as. He had an expressive, funny, and quippy accent. He never took his background fighting seriously. He always had a quip to say, and roasted his villains brutally. So yeah. It's sad that we didn't get to see any more of his material, and it's sad that his material was wasted on the second Amazing Spider-Man film. His material was very well used, and the second film, it was sad how good material had quips, but he was used, and himself and the quips were used in a very, well, mediocre film. Sequels of this. But with that, in number 2 is Toby Maguire. Now, yes, Toby Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man actor and favorite Spider-Man of all time, because I grew up with the Spider-Man as a kid. But just because he's my favorite doesn't mean I think he's the best in my opinion. I think he's my favorite in my opinion. He's in my personal opinion, my favorite. But in my personal opinion, he's not the best Spider-Man actor to be portrayed on the screen. By that I mean live action, not animated. I mean, who's the best live action Spider-Man? I don't like how whoever it is, Captain Midnight or Goobs, who says that Goobs, that counts the Spectacular Spider-Man as a live action. Yes, it is Spider-Man media, but they mean the live action one, not an animated one. They meant the best live action Spidey, not the animated one. He's one of the best animated Spider-Man and one of the best Spider-Man characters to be developed for television, but he doesn't really count as a live action character because he never made any live action, and he's only known to those who are big Spider-Man fans or fans of the show. But anywho, out of that, Toby Maguire brings a great role to the role of Peter Parker. He's nerdy, he's a wallflower, he's bullied the shit out of, and he can't get the girl. And they really, really focus on the story in this one. This is all about the story of Peter Parker. Yes, it's about the story of Spider-Man, but it's also more about the story of Peter Parker and his relationship issues. The reboot franchise would focus more on Spider-Man's character, how Spider-Man affects Peter Parker's life. What does that do to him? Everything Peter says as Spider-Man affects him as Peter Parker. Anything Spider-Man says that shoots him up, anything that Peter Parker has will shoot him down. So, being Spider-Man, being Peter Parker. The whole opposite of being Peter Parker, being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. They'll collide and bash into one another. And with that, yeah. But Toby Maguire brought a good role to the role of Peter Parker. Spider-Man, well, he took his crime fighting a bit too seriously, but in the moments he was in, the moments he had with his quips were good, and I do feel like I think the video games took much more comic book accuracy with his quips, that even though Toby Maguire wasn't given his all best in the role of playing Spider-Man in the tie-in video games, he still did a pretty decent job, and his quips are actually quite funny, and it's quite nice to see his one crack jokes and take his crime fighting not so serious. So with that, now I'm going to go to the number one actor, who I think is the best Spider-Man actor. Tom Holland. Now, he is not my favorite, but he's the best Spider-Man, in my opinion, out of the live-action characters. Now, yes, I do believe the franchise he stars in is a bit too high-tech. They make this one a bit too high-tech. But he is a great Spider-Man. There's no doubting that. He is a good Spider-Man. And I really like that. He's a good Spider-Man. He's good Peter Parker. He's nerdy. He's a wallflower. He's bullied. And he's made fun of. He's a good Spider-Man. He's quippy. He's funny. He doesn't take his crime fighting seriously. And they do the Spider-Man and Peter Parker thing. Everything Spider-Man does good as will make it bad for Peter Parker. Like when Spider-Man stops Adrian Toomes. He stops the bad guys and saves all the equipment, but at the cost of that, he loses the girl. The girl he's in love with has to move away due to this devastating loss, and that means Spider-Man wins, but Peter Parker loses. So yeah. And yeah. And like again in Far From Home, when Spider-Man gets his identity revealed, Spider-Man wins because he stopped the bad guy and defeated him, but Peter Parker loses due to the fact his identity got leaked to the world. Because I do not know, the MCU likes to have lackluster people with lackluster ways of keeping their identity a secret. Plus, making plot twists, it was quite good at plot twists, actually. But yes, those are my rankings of all three Spider-Man actors. Now, this video, I'm not exactly proud of it by filming it, but I'm going to upload it anyway because I'm tired and I just want to get this over with. So, I'm going to be filming the next video, which will be me ranking all the maybe ranking all 3 Stranger Things seasons. That will be the next video, and then after that, yeah, see you.